input as far as what the interests of the cities are, so that that can be voiced during legislative session. Next thing, probably most of you, if you've read the booster, know that I went to Commissioner's Court. Well, hey, the county is getting, I think it's close to $13 million out of this this DebtCog money. You know, we're getting 1.933, and this is money that's allotted and it comes in through DebtCog. DebtCog received $161 million, and then it's going to be distributed amongst the 7 counties that were affected by Harvey. This is all Harvey money. In Tyler County, it was only 75979 that was affected. So a portion of that, most of that money has to be spent in 75979 in our zip code, which includes Woodville. It's kind of a strip across the county that's 75979. My thinking is, since we're the second largest population concentration, that we should get a portion of the money that goes to the county. And I presented that idea to the Commissioner's Court the other day, and afterwards I was asked for a project. I got our engineers together, and they came up with this. We decided that, you know, we have to do something rapidly. We thought, well, the entrance from 69 all the way down to Candy Cane Park, that would be good. Now, of course, when the engineers did the map, they didn't take out that little portion that's the Water Development Board. That's already been done. But Victoria Dye from LJA came up with an estimate on this. I told her the estimate's a little high. She had added costs, because what happens, you get the grant, and then by the time the construction is done, prices have gone up. So she kind of padded it to allow for that. And I said, well, maybe it's probably better to reduce it a little bit, because I'm hoping to convince them. If it's too much, I'm afraid I can't get it. But the other thing I did, I looked at the tax rate that the county collects, and I got the figures, our value of Ivanhoe, and this year, the people of Ivanhoe, if it was 100% collection rate, we would have paid $787,000 into the county coffers. And I pointed out that we basically don't get anything in return. So I said, this is a perfect opportunity to help our community, when most of the time the county can't spend money within the city limits. And I went to a luncheon on Monday where our Congressman Brian Babin was speaking, and he told me that he totally supported my proposal. So what I'm going to do, I've got this map and I've got some revised figures, and I'm going to go to all the commissioners tomorrow morning, each one individually, and talk to them, because it has to be a vote of the commissioners. So I'm hoping to be able to get their support in getting maybe another $1.5 million, so we can do that project. The deadline to submit your application for city council is Monday at 5 p.m. So anyone wishing to run for either the city council positions or the mayor's position can put their application in by 5 o'clock Monday afternoon. Poor CD has to sit here and have the office open, because that's the deadline, and that's the official. So we have the office open on Monday until 5. So encourage anybody. We've already got three candidates for mayor. And the 2 people that are running for, Councilman Craven arrived. All right.
Hey, Johnny. There's
All
Johnny.
right. I knew you were going to get here. Anyway, so it's Councilman Craven and Councilman Warren that are up for re-election. And at this point, there's no one opposing you guys, so you leave your signs in the attic. Yeah, I have to get my signs out of the attic. Anyway, it's fun. And then there will be a drawing for the places on the ballot on August 26th. Am I correct, CD? At 5:15 in the afternoon, if those candidates wish to be there. Otherwise, the numbers are just going to be drawn out of a hat to see which position you will have on the ballot. August 26th at 5:15 p.m.
Okay.
I'm giving council a copy of our appraised, or CD has passed out the copy of the appraised values that came in from Lynette Cruz, and the tax rates to bring in, no new revenue tax rate and the voter approval tax rate. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have a budget workshop, so we'll go into detail about that, but each of the council members has that. Our values have gone up from 84 million, I think it was last year, and it's 97 million now. We have had quite a few new builds, which add value to our community, and of course, we've had land reappraised. This year they did land, I believe, so that's added to the value. We have been working on the budget. This is that time of the year. We have to have our tax rate and our budget adopted by the end of September. Tommy and I have spent a good day and a half with CD going over line item by line item, see what we've spent in the past, to look at our track record, where we're going, and where our projected figures. So we'll be doing that budget workshop where we will all sit down and go over line item by line item. Charmaine South, I don't know how many people have noticed, we paved Charmaine South, 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
And we noticed cracking occurring on the pavement, and it's alarming because it hasn't, that's a new road to us. And so what I did was I called up the engineers. Victoria Dye came out from LJA this morning, and then yesterday afternoon at 5-something, I called Wayne Sweet from Gulf Coast, who's a contractor. I wanted opinions. Victoria told me yesterday when I called her on the phone, told her what was happening. She said it's probably the drought. There's that clay underneath, it's cracking, and it causes cracks on the surface. Right now, most of them are pretty much hairline cracks, but it is alarming because it's a new pavement. And then when Wayne got here before Victoria showed up this morning, and he ran the roads, and he came in, he says it looks like it's caused by the drought. So I got two opinions that had not collaborated with the same opinion, and that made me feel better. At least we walked the roads and we looked at what possible solutions we could come up with, and Wayne came up with an idea. What he said that they are using a lot on TxDOT is it's like a tape that you put down, and then you use a torch to heat it, and it's like asphalt material. And he said the Department of Transportation is using it. They think they approve it. They think it's great. So that's and it's easy to put down. So that's something that we're looking into as far as keeping up with those hairline cracks so that they don't get to where it's a real problem. Anything that you want to add to that?
Just that the big cracks are going to be fixed by LD, we hope. Or
See, the first time we noticed the cracks were back before September or something around that.
Last year.
And out of sight, out of mind, I decided to walk walk around the lake, and when you're walking it, you really see. And so, as soon as we found the first cracks, we called LD. They're the ones that applied the asphalt, and it was before the warranty was up. And they said that they would come out and seal those cracks. Well, they still haven't done it, but they're going to come out and work on those cracks because the cracks that were originally there have expanded. Now it's, they've opened up quite a bit. The other ones are still hairline cracks, but we're going to see if we can get LD to go ahead and, they're still talking about patching up at least those first ones.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
We're good. We had, Marion and I met with a lady from DebtCog that represents RSVP, which is Retired Senior Volunteer Program. And this is an awesome program, and I think it's going to be something that can really help our community. Ivanhoe operates on volunteers. And so there's so much volunteer time spent, and we can get credit for it, we found out, as a community. And so, especially the association. I mean, everybody that works for the association is working for, volunteers. Debbie spends a lot of time here volunteering, helping right now. She's volunteer time that would count. And what happens is you have to sign up as a volunteer. The community signs up as what they call a station. And anything under that station gets credit, and we don't get money, but we get counted as, volunteer hours get counted as $28 an hour. 29? Holy crow.
Congratulations.
I've never made $29 an hour in my life. But anyway, and what happens is then when you apply for a grant, you can use that fund. It's not actual money, but it's a fund. It builds up. For example, the association has 2 volunteers every Saturday working 5 hours. So that's 10 hours. That's $290 going into this fund every Saturday, just the people that are working in the office. And they have all kinds of people working out in the parks and doing all kinds of stuff that can, accumulate toward match for a grant. So this is really a wonderful program, and I was really thrilled that it occurred to me to invite Marion to come in. So because I think between Mary and I, we were able to ask the questions that were pertinent so that we could really understand what the program looks like. I had
So
talked to those
is
people
it simple
before.
to capture the hours and report them?
It really is. It's a simple form. You do have to sign up as a volunteer. I already filled out the paperwork and got it in so that we're a station now. And Marion has already gotten some people to fill out the volunteer form, and it's easy. And they even offer insurance if somebody's doing volunteer work. The insurance only covers when you're doing volunteer work. But if you're out there, Carl, and you're volunteering and doing something and you sprain your ankle, it'll cover the cost. So any volunteer that's out there working, while they're working, they have that insurance coverage, which is a plus.
We get credit for equipment.
I don't think so. Carl. But anyway, that's an example. So we're going to be talking to people about, filling out that volunteer form so that we can get more and more credit. Might as well. They're working anyway. You only have to be 55 or over, and a lot of us are. Yeah, well, Debbie says way over. You don't have to exaggerate. Okay.
I had acne at 55.
I also spoke to Victoria about our grant application for the $1,933,000, and I talked to our grant administrators. They're coordinating to get our project together for that $1,933,000 is a given, but we do have to get the project submitted directly to GLO, and they explained at DebtCog the other day. Our COG, our Coalition of Governments, is the first one that got their method of distribution approved. The first ones in the state. So pretty soon, all kinds of project applications are going to come in. If we get our project application in early, the earlier we get it in, the sooner we're going to get it approved. There's no problem about the approval of it. Our project will qualify, definitely. But we have to get on the top of the pile instead of the bottom of the pile. So they're really working on getting that done as soon as possible. There's lots of good stuff happening. There was a tax sale that happened the first Tuesday of this month. And I realized just a few days before that one of the properties on that tax sale is on Saxon Circle up on the old lake bed. And it's right on the lake. Or what was the lake. And so I called up our tax attorney and asked him if he could please take it off the rolls, and he was able. I wasn't even sure if he could do it, but he did it. They took it off the auction, and it was held by Woodville ISD. It was already in the hands of the trustee. So it's just a question of us working with the different taxing entities to get that land for us, and I'm sure that they'll pretty much give it to us. And that will because my argument was with our $11.5 million project, we need access to that area. And so that'll give us a lot that we can utilize for accessing, because it's on the other side of the dam, it's on the other side of the lake. It's in a good location to be able to access the property. So that's going to happen. I also ran into the superintendent of schools in Woodville, and they're the ones that hold the biggest interest in any foreclosed property, because school taxes are the biggest line item in your tax bill. So I ran into Lisa and told her what I had done, and so told her I'd get together with her, and I'm working with James to close that out. That's about it. sorry to bother you with so many things, but it's kind of exciting that there's so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
Next is consider for discussion action schedule budget workshop. Like I said, would Wednesday or Thursday of next week, either evening, work for you all? Look at your calendars. Now, what we're looking at, we need to have a special meeting, and it's going to be a short meeting, and that is to look at a dump truck that is a possible purchase for the Public Works. And David is gathering information about it, and they're going to hold it until next week, and so we'll talk about that at the special meeting. And so to see if that's something we want to move forward with, we have to authorize the expenditure as a council. We can't just do that without council's approval. And the other thing is we have to look at the bids from auditing firms for next year and decide which auditing firm we will utilize. Then that's the special meeting. Should take not very, very long at all. Now, the next thing we have to do is a budget workshop, which I figured we could do the special meeting quickly and then get into our budget workshop. That's what's going to take some time. And I hope council is willing to sit around the table and just look, go over this thing line item by line item and
Sure.
figure it out. So what works for y'all, Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday.
He said Thursday, I said either day.
Yeah,
Oh,
either
okay.
for me too.
All right.
Johnny,
So
you gonna check your
it seems
calendar?
like Thursday is the, Johnny is unprepared. Can you imagine Johnny being unprepared? No, he's blushing. Okay, so let's look
25th?
at dates here. That would make it the 25th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Council, okay.
What time?
Would you rather start early? With other things, we've started early because we know we're kind of going to go a long time. Now, we could start maybe at 5. Would that give you time to have some dinner first and then be ready for the evening? Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
So we'll do 5 and 5:30? Okay. What did we do before cell phones?
We didn't make the meeting.
We didn't make the meeting. There you go. Okay. I've gotten to where if I don't put it in there. Okay, that handles that. Now, number 3 is consider discussion action Supervisor of Dams report. Rusty, you are on. Where is Rusty? Oh, there he is.
So you can have the special meeting immediately following that, 6.
The special meeting
5:30.
first, and then the workshop right after the special meeting. The special meeting should be short, the workshop will take longer. The workshop, who knows how long it'll take. And everyone, it's all public. Now, the workshop is going to be set up differently, because we're basically, I think, going to sit around a table and figure out. And, but everybody, the public is, welcome to be here. Okay, Rusty, sorry to interrupt your time.
You're welcome to interrupt it. Work for you. Mayor, City Council, there's nothing going on with the dams, really. There's some odds and ends, and Will and Sarah are going to help with killing some grass for us over on Galahad and Charmaine, where it's trying to get going through the caulking. And other than that, I'm like everybody else, just wishing it would rain a lot more than the little bit we got today, even with all the noise. All that was nice, but could use the water to go along with it. And I appreciate Patsy. I got to say a word for Patsy, because she has some influence when it comes to rain.
I don't know. No comment.
That's really all I have, unless you have questions.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you getting on that. That's another thing I noticed on my walk. See, I never walk. I walked all the way around the lake, and I saw grass, and it's like, wait a minute. But I appreciate you. Yes, C.D.
Follow up from last month's meeting.
Uh, I don't want to have to ask for motorized equipment to be shut down, at least not yet. This may break and give us the water we need so that the lakes will start accumulating again. We got the little bit of runoff from Galahad started last week and is continuing, but not very much, and seems to be slowing. With this little blast, it may have created enough water to come down more. Charmaine's really kind of holding, and it gained slightly, but it's at least holding. So I'm hoping we'll get more, so we don't have to ask for all the motors to get shut off the lake.
Thank you, Rusty.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Rusty or comments? We appreciate you. Appreciate you, Will. Thank you both. Municipal court activity, Judge Rader is not available this evening. Her daughter had COVID and she did want to, she didn't want to be a carrier. So she's not here, and so she'll do a double report next month. Report on City Marshal office activity, Terry is here.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. Last month, July, we had over 100 calls. 21 of them came through the sheriff's office. I did around 50 calls. Most of that was civil. Bob did 21 calls, 5 report, 2 arrests, 1 felony, 1 misdemeanor, and Steve did 18. And if y'all don't need me anymore, I'm going on vacation after I get through with this.
You mean, are you done, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
Well, also I'm working with JP's office on a rush paper. I think it was through the
Jackie.
city over a TECQ violation. It's going to be in a hearing. And the people are dodging me right now, so I figured when I get through with this meeting, I'll go by and pay them a visit.
Yeah. Are there any questions for Terry? We appreciate you a lot. Thank you for you and your department.
I'll be back next week.
Okay. Have a good time. Travel safe. Okay. Code enforcement activity, Jackie?
Hello. As Terry said, there is a TCEQ. It's going to go to court at the middle of September. That's one that we've been working on. The next one that we're trying to get worked on is the 360 Lakeview that Will had brought up a few months ago. We're working on trying to get that one into court. I believe that this month we closed approximately 23 cases. And what's the other thing that we've been working on? I drew a blank for a second. We've been trying to fix the problems with the language barrier, and we came up with a new sheet to explain things where it has English and Spanish on it, and that seems to help. At least the person that came in, that we was having a lot of problems with that. It seemed to really help, so we're going to look at doing some more documents maybe that has both English and Spanish. And if we find out that there's any other, what's the right word? Any other languages, and any different languages that we need to put it in, maybe? I don't know. I didn't want to be specific just to the Spanish, but I know that's, I'm at a loss for words right now.
You're rushing too much, right?
Exactly. So, I do know that a couple of the cases, there's lots of metal that needs picked up at a couple of the houses, and they're working with Jonathan, which he's stepping up and helping get some of those places cleaned up. Also reached out and talked to a few other people about helping get some properties cleaned up where the people are, they're owners, but they live out of state. So I've been working with them, trying to help them get in touch with people that can get it cleaned up. I mean, there will be a price that they'll have to pay, but at least we can kind of, I guess, oversee it a little bit, make sure that the people that we're telling that this is a good person to call, that they do follow up and get everything cleaned up. And I think we've made a lot of big steps here recently. So, any questions? Any problems, concerns?
Do you find time to sleep?
A little bit. Depends on what day it is. So,
We appreciate you, Jackie. She's doing a fabulous job. Consider for discussion action equipment acquisition. David Marshall approached me. He's always wanting stuff. This time, of course, we're looking at a dump truck, and he's asked for a sweeper attachment for that Bobcat that we have. If you've noticed, there's an awful lot of buildup of, pine needles on the edges of the road. Some edges, you can't even see the edge of the road. You don't know where it is. And so what he's talking about is getting a brush attachment for that Bobcat so that they go along and sweep the edges of the roads. And he said that we're looking at a cost of from $8,000 to $12,000. And the other thing that he's asking for is a conveyor for the dump truck. Now, this is an item, if I don't explain it properly, he can get on me. But it's an attachment for the back of the dump truck that distributes material on the edge of the road so that, when we did the work in the back, the guys were out there with a shoveling that riprap to put along the edge and packing it down. Well, this conveyor thing just dumps that stuff and just, the dump truck moves along and it just distributes it evenly and efficiently. Do you have to have a packer downer to follow up with that?
No, people use the road pretty quick enough.
Okay, well, I didn't make up a word for it either. But anyway, this is another item that's around from $8,000 to $12,000.
The dropper offer.
A what? A dropper offer. Oh, hey, we got it all going on. A grinder upper, a packer downer, and a
Dropper offer.
dropper offer. When we get all that equipment, we're really going to be in the money.
And a sweeper upper.
Oh, and a sweeper upper, yeah. I'm glad we have fun.
Don't we need a big dustpan?
That sweeper upper might have kept our new bad boy from burning up.
You'll run out of that.
Well, thank God it's covered by insurance.
Yeah.
But anyway, this item is also another item that costs from $7,000 to $12,000. Now, have you seen anything specifically on those items?
A little bit cheaper on the room. Sweeper upper.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So already in the throat net and everything.
okay. Okay, maybe we should just put that on hold for a while. What I figured we could look at is authorizing, an expenditure of up to a certain amount. Right now, what we have in our capital improvement equipment acquisition fund is a balance of $66,042.63. And so I kind of figured that, if David found these items that he needed while we still have this in the fund, it might be time to look at purchasing that. Do I have, hear a motion to authorize the purchase of these two pieces of equipment?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. We need a motion, a second to have discussion. The motion can drop, but we should have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
I would just say actual cost before we approve this expenditure.
What?
I would just say actual cost before we approve this expenditure.
Okay,
Well, what we're saying, I think, is we want to know what it costs, but we're approving up to a certain amount of money for that. So, you know, if we say 10,000 for sweeper and 10,000 for the other one,
Do you have a ballpark, David, for the two?
the problem is getting a meeting together. If you find something that, you know, looks like a deal, then what, we have to either, you know, call a special meeting or, these are new pieces of equipment, though.
Brand new.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry, I'm up next.
yeah, who invited you?
Yes, sir. The sweeper upper thingy, whatever y'all are calling it there, it's,
You've been contaminated.
there's hydraulics that go back and forth to angle the broom at different angles. We don't need that. All we need is the manual. Just pull the pin and force it over, drop the pin down. That will do fine. Those are running 6 to 8, so that's a little bit better in the ballpark.
You know, somebody said about dustpan. We were in the street sweeping business when I lived in Mexico, and we did, I mean, it did pick it up and dump it somewhere. I mean, is this all going to go in the ditch?
Pretty much. They do make a sweeper upper, picky uppy, sweeper yard thing, whatever.
Oh, like a vacuum that goes on the side or something?
No, it
Rear?
actually has
like
brooms
a
in the
bin.
front that pushes it in just like your, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
collects it, and you go dump it. The only problem is it collects very, very little. You would have to be dumping continuously at various sites around
Oh,
town.
the capacity of the device is small?
Minuscule.
Okay.
You
So
would
you'd
have to,
spend more time running back and forth to dump.
and you've got numerous dump sites all over instead of running.
we're talking about leaves and pine needles mostly, aren't we?
That's it.
Maybe a little dirt once in a while.
Right, after the storm, you know, an occasional
Branch.
small branch, or those with the
How big
attached
is
leaves.
this? How big is this thing?
The broom itself is, I think, 72 inches wide.
6 feet.
It's, I think, 34 or 32 inches high. The bristles are both a plastic with a wire. That usually works the best. It spreads it out, but it still wears like it should. The brooms, if you use it all the time, you're probably looking at replacing those wafers in there every 8 months. It's, you don't mash them. All you want to hear is just the tips of those sweeping. That's it. A lot of people will put all the pressure on them where they're bent back and want to know why they have to replace them, you know, after the first month.
Yeah, you just barely want it touching.
That's it. That's it. The other,
Cost of this place?
I want to say in the neighborhood of around $300. Each dealer, not dealer, manufacturer is different.
What did you call them? What did you call the?
Wafers.
Wafers.
I was going to say cookies. It's kind of similar.
Vanilla.
Vanilla wafers.
The other thing, moving along there was, yes, you're correct on the dump truck thrower out, what'd you call it? Thrower outer, spreader, something? It's a conveyor system. Out of the back of the truck, onto the conveyor system. They have a control that is, you can put it in the cab, or you can mount it on the back. I know TxDOT has most of their trucks, or that contraption. They have it to where a man can stand on the back safely, and he is right there where that table is and can adjust the flow much more faster and much more accurately. But now you're using 2 people instead of 1. So there's pros and cons. But what gets on the road, we can use a sweeper upper to sweep it back that direction.
Now, price.
You're looking in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 on that. Now, I have factored in a little
usable item that we don't think about until February, and we get 3 inches of ice.
So it spreads salt too.
For $1,200 extra dollars, and spins and has a spinner plate. 1 man versus 4 all night long, wrecked equipment,
Go sit down.
you know. No, I'm up. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
That's how I'm trying to make my case.
well, I know.
So for these 3 items, what, 20,000, 22,000? 25,000?
You go too
thinking-
high,
I'm
you,
thinking.
no, wait a minute, you're already asking for a truck.
Right. Y'all said the money was there for that, so I jumped on it. And understand, that truck, when she says dump truck, is a 3 to 4 yard dump truck, does not require a CDL. We only have 1 CDL driver.
Is that the one that has the drop sides?
No,
No?
no, that one was gone.
Oh, darn it.
But it's about the amount that we use for a culvert install. So instead of having to get Joe off the dump truck or Joe off the grader, anybody there with a driver's license can take it out there. So that will
We'll
help.
talk about that when we,
Okay.
we have the special meeting. We don't need to get into details about that.
Okay, so what do you want now? Am I up?
Hey, you're good.
I'm already here, huh?
Back up just a second.
Yeah, we gotta finish this one.
Spreader, 10 to 12,000. And then if you get a bit more than the roadway, then you're gonna have the sweeper come back and sweep it up.
Right.
So it's 2 people, right?
No.
The same person can get off and then.
Well, you're not gonna sweep it up the same day. You know, and the traffic will mostly push it towards the edge anyway.
So,
But no, they usually don't sweep it up till a couple of days later. So, I mean, 1 person could do it. Could. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but they could.
It'll make it
Could take 2. Okay.
well, you know.
I'd like
what-
to amend my motion
Okay.
to amount not more than $25,000 for these 3 items.
Okay.
And it's coming out of what line item?
Out of the capital improvement equipment acquisition fund.
Yeah, I mean,
We have $66,000 in that fund.
there's no problem doing 1 this year, 1 the next year, 1 the next. It's not Christmas. It's just needed items that would make it, like you said, more efficient.
You know, we're going to be having a special meeting on Wednesday, and I don't know if we want to, if maybe you could get more specific information
Sure.
between now and Wednesday. You could let us have better numbers.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Thursday, I'm sorry.
Thursday.
I said Wednesday, but it's
It's
Thursday.
okay, I'll
we're
take
gonna have the
Thursday.
meeting.
It's an extra
So
day.
if you could gather some, you've got a week,
Yeah.
if you could gather some more information about pricing and come back with us with a tighter
I will.
figure. It is a little difficult when you give us that wider range of.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I understand, but that was a starting point.
Well, no.
So it's time to go into second
No, I totally
gear.
understand, because you put from 8 to 12,000 on each one.
Right, yeah. There's a wide gap.
I'd like to withdraw my motion.
And what's the warranty on these? Is there any installation cost?
Yeah, just get your information so you can answer every one of Will's questions next
Got that?
Thursday.
I'm gonna answer you later. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think that, does that meet with council's approval that we gather more information? David's got a week to do that, and then we can really address the issue at that special meeting. That means, CD, we have to add that to the agenda.
I'd appreciate that.
Not a problem.
So Tommy, you said you'd like to withdraw your motion at this time? Are you in agreement, John?
My second, yeah.
Okay. All right, and, you're on next anyway. Okay, our Public Works report.
Good evening. All right, things are looking much better. We, as y'all know, and you've heard me talk about it, started off with almost 100 work orders back when they were paper. literally a piece of paper with an address written on them. We're now computerized, modernized, and we are now down to 15 work orders left on the work board. At that point, there will be reason for celebration. At that point, we can concentrate on the maintenance that we need to concentrate on and try and cut this stuff down to where we don't have to get those kind of numbers back on the board again. So a lot of thanks to y'all getting the roads done, taking up the slack on that we're not out there constantly paving or patching Chanticleer. Everybody remember that nightmare? We're past that, so it's full speed ahead.
That's on me, right?
I do the work, y'all have the money. Y'all have the money.
So how's the internet working now, your cell signal? Did you get that new
I
antenna
have
up?
not had time to put that up. I just haven't. But
We ordered the one that Carl recommended.
Okay.
He said it works really well
It
for
doesn't
his.
look like it's difficult to put up, we just have not had the time.
No, when the internet is down, you'll have time.
Well, it only goes down for like 5 minutes and then comes back, so we're working in shifts. Okay, what we've been doing, the work orders, moving along, we're averaging one and a half a day to clear these things off the board, which is great. Understanding that we always have new ones coming in, like Tommy's potholes. But we still manage to do what we have to do to be safe. Monthly safety meeting for August, we've already had. Everybody attended. Topics discussed was proper loading of equipment, proper tying down of equipment, personal space, the hand tool safety, weed eater safety, some of the smaller items that we use. I don't think anybody here would be surprised how bad they can hurt you if you're not paying attention. The PPEs, we've got to get some new vests, personal protective equipment. Signs, discussed, we need to be more diligent in putting out our signs when we're on these roadways to make people more aware sooner. We've ordered some signs, CD and I, to kind of help with that, to warn everybody well before you get there. And of course, we had to talk about the summer heat and how to take care of yourself and not die out there. Nope, we've got that done. The other thing that I am excited about is today we made our first run with our good and popular friends at the pellet mill. 6 hours, 8 loads. That came out to 40 tons. When we mix that, that will be 120 tons. That comes out to about $6.50 a ton versus $42.94. So we're ahead on the game on that. Hopefully, if it continues. There's a lot of places for error, and a lot of things could go wrong, but so far we're off to a good start. We hope to do this once a week. See what we can get stockpiled to get these roads in
How
better
many
shape.
loads did you say you got? How many loads did you say you got?
We got 8 loads
8 loads.
in 6 hours. It's about a 30-minute turnaround, 45-minute turnaround, depending if it gets lost or not. And those were 5-yard loads. We didn't want to push the 6 yards on the highway. So 5 yards in each load. We're good.
And what do you do with this?
Put it on the roadways. Stabilizes sand. Helps the base outlast limestone. It's a good product if it's mixed correctly.
What do you mix it with?
I can't tell you.
They do that,
No, we do that here. That's why I can't tell you. But if you swing by, I'll show you. Our cost to do all of that, to pick it up, fuel, 2 employees, city truck delivering the Bobcat, the trailer, everything else was $260 for those 6 hours. So
Now, you're talking about our cost, but these folks are already working for us, right? So this is the cost, if we had to get somebody to do it, that would be what it cost?
No, no,
No,
no,
no.
You're paying extra for this?
no. The guys would be working
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
That's right.
this is our people.
I just want everybody to understand, we're not spending extra money.
No.
So when you're saying it's gonna be $8 a ton or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's really free. Our costs are built in.
Okay, well, that's even better then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the cost avoidance number just went up, which is good.
No, I think it's good to put a price on it like that, because,
Yeah.
That's a
you're
technical
using
term.
manpower and everything, but I'm just
We are.
saying that it's not real, we're not really spending any additional money.
No, no,
Okay.
no, I don't think so.
It's not a savings, it's an avoidance.
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
like I say, they're gonna be there anyway, they're gonna be working.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put those numbers together in case,
And I think we need
as
to know.
always, y'all ask, so
Yeah.
we would have the numbers there. And like I said, that's fuel, time, everything. So it gives us a little bit more accurate count, but we'll keep up with that and see where it goes. Other than that, everybody seems to be happy. We don't have any fights. Nobody's doing anything they shouldn't. Everything's looking pretty good down there. We all come in and cry over the Bobcat. The bad boy, I'm sorry.
The bad boy, I was gonna say.
So is there any
Have we
time frame
heard-
on replacement?
That's what I was just gonna ask. Have we heard from the insurance company or what, or, you know, from
CD
TML?
asked me to get a written price on basically an exact replacement. And I think I'll turn that over to him, and he's the man of the hour there with that. I'm just doing what he asked me to do.
Okay,
Okay? That it?
I think so.
Okay.
Do we have a deductible on that, CD? Do we have a deductible on that loss?
The bad boy.
Yeah,
Claim has been filed. TML said we need to get a price for replacement,
mm-hmm,
and then that's what they'll work off of.
okay. Super, thank you.
Does it, I know they asked, do we want to keep it or junk it? Is that one way or the other, good or bad, or is there? Okay, okay. That's fine, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, David. Discussion, consider discussion, action, planning and zoning commission recommendations. Councilman Craven.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we did have a monthly meeting a few weeks back, and the meeting went well. I would like to go ahead and move into the 3 recommendations of the ordinance revisions that were proposed last month for the first reading, and this will be the second reading. Number 1 is ordinance 2022-2. And that's amending section 110-18, 151.08. So I would like to make a motion to move to accept this change as proposed.
Well, were there changes to or clarifications to the nonprofit and or charitable organizations? Has that been rolled into the new thing? Or was that in the original ordinance as presented?
You talking about for this particular one? I mean, we didn't change anything on this one, no.
Okay, I was just looking at the email from August the 15th that said that there was a clarification made to it. I was just curious what it
Yeah,
was.
there was a change but to the 2022-4.
No, this says 2022-2.
Oh, did it?
Additional exemptions. Clarifies which nonprofit and or charitable organizations serving the citizens of Ivanhoe are exempt from the prohibition of placing temporary ground-mounted signs in the public right-of-way.
Who is that from?
Ms. Weber. The devil's in the details.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. There is no change from the first reading in that ordinance recommendation.
Okay.
The organizations that were exempted are the same organizations that were exempted in the first reading. there was a change in the number 4,
Yeah.
number 4, in the second reading, but we're not there yet.
To this one? To this one here, the 2022-2, the one we're talking about?
No, there were no changes on 2022
Okay,
from the first reading to the second reading.
okay.
Now,
Your comment on the email was confusing to me is all.
what my comment?
Additional exemptions clarifies which nonprofit and/or charitable organizations serving the citizens are exempt from the prohibition of placing temporary ground-mounted signs in the public right-of-way.
I'm looking at what you are, it looks like this with yellow. The yellow indicates any new information. The other one was, the other information is just the same executive summary for each.
So this is just, okay, this
So
is,
that's exactly
okay.
that was submitted for the first reading.
Okay,
And then the yellow in that email is the only difference. Everything highlighted in yellow.
oh, that, okay, gotcha, I got you.
It would be great if you're gonna get that one, but it's like that, like that.
I printed it in color. Okay, cool, cool, thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve that? John, are you putting that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I'd like to put that in motion, please.
And now we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, John?
Okay, number 2, number 11, I guess it is on the. Yeah.
Yes, number 11.
It's ordinance 2022-3, and it's on the animals, and no changes have been made since the first reading. So I'd like to make a motion that we move to accept this as proposed.
And this will be adopt, not, yeah.
Yes.
This would be actually adopting the change. You hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So, no discussion?
Okay, well, I figured we voted for it last time. Yeah, go
Well, we
ahead,
did.
discussion.
So the only thing that was removed was rabbits?
It was added.
It was
Oh,
added.
it was added.
Does not change the number of pets a household may lawfully keep from current ordinance. It simply adds rabbits to the list of type of pets and removes it from the prohibited animals.
Oh, so you can have 5 rabbits?
You can, as long as you
Or-
have dogs.
Yeah. But if you have 4 dogs and 1 rabbit, that's okay. It has to be a total of 5, no more than 5. Yeah.
And who enforces this?
Same people who enforce everything else.
Planning and zoning only writes, verbiage for ordinances that create the path for legal decisions to be made and enforced, but we do not create the manner in which they are enforced. That is not our purview.
Just, has this been a problem?
Someone that has rabbits wanted to have their rabbits counted as pets. And so, are we willing to accept rabbits if it's within the 5 pets? Can people,
Oh, that's what this is about? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're just taking rabbits off the prohibited list and putting it on the
Gotcha.
list as
I'm all right.
approved pets.
You all right?
As long as they don't have 100 rabbits.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All
If
right.
that, it's good to clarify
Sure.
what the purpose and meaning of this.
Sure.
Okay, now we can take a vote. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along, John.
Okay, moving right along to agenda item number 12. It's ordinance 20-22-4 and recreational vehicles. And I would like to make a motion to move to accept this ordinance with the change that was sent to y'all, which only change, there was no verbiage change. The only change was we moved a sentence that was down near the bottom, and we moved it up near the top of permits. The verbiage stayed the same, which
what is
read, permits must be displayed in a location on a camper recreational vehicle that is visible from the street.
And that sentence was down in section E, wasn't it?
In D, it was in D.
In D. And they just moved that one sentence from section D up to section A.
We want to make sure that it was viable for all of the paragraph followers. In other words, that applies to everything following.
I would just like to say that I know y'all have put a lot of time and effort into this, and I appreciate that. It's well thought out, but I don't like it. I don't think it's appropriate for us. Well, there's enough meat in the existing ordinances that we don't need to require people, I don't think, in my opinion, to get permits for a street legal RV or motorhome.
I agree with Council last night.
I'm not trying to be difficult or argumentative. I just don't think that it fits. There's the enforcement side of things. You know, people are going to come in on a Friday or Saturday, and I know the argument is, well, we're open Saturdays just for that, but we close at noon. And if I don't have a dog in the fight, I don't have an RV, but if I was coming in with my family to come and bring it in for the weekend, I don't want to, after a 2-hour drive, to have to come up here and go to the office and ask for a permit or permission to bring my RV onto my own property.
Well,
Sorry.
the other side of that is the people that are in violation, and how do you can't put a rule that says, okay, let's just, you know, address those that we know are violating, and you have to have something that you can enforce.
We have it already in here. If it's not tagged, it's a junk vehicle. If it's not street legal, if it doesn't have a license plate with a current registration, it's a junk vehicle.
That's not the only thing that we're addressing. You know, it's where you know, there are travel trailers that have been left parked on the lake where they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be parked there full-time. It ends up that they just leave them there. That's not, you know.
So is that an area where you are allowed to have them?
No. You're not supposed to leave
Exactly.
it.
So
Yeah.
there's you can require them to be moved.
You don't need another ordinance for this, we already have it in place. And you,
I think if it were enforceable, Jackie wouldn't be requesting that we do something to make it enforceable. Obviously, there's holes in this, and Jackie, maybe you could explain, and then Brad can step in. We're not trying to make anything difficult for anybody. There was an argument brought up about, oh, you know, I have, you know, a travel trailer in my driveway, and I should be able to have that, and you shouldn't bother me, and an additional cost. The cost wasn't even discussed, and I think, you know, the idea is just to make sure that we, you know, because if we try to enforce it in XYZ place, they say, well, you don't do it over here. It has to be uniform. They've done an amazing job. Like, is it a big deal? Is it a big deal to come in and get a permit once a year to have your travel trailer parked in your driveway? I mean, we get them for our golf carts and for our boats and for all that stuff. And maybe pay $5, $10 for a permit that's going to be visible, that, so we know that, you know, it's just.
So we know what? I mean, I don't.
Okay, Jackie, please.
At this very moment, we do not have an ordinance for any travel trailers in District 1 and in District 2. So as it stands right now, just like I received a call from Councilman Warren about travel trailers in District 1 and 2. He called me, and I can't do anything about it because that was deleted prior to me starting, and I found that it deleted once I started, and that was back in about a month after I'd been here in November.
When and how was that deleted?
Chuck Marshall found that 17 days off and 17, you know, and 5, you know, 17 days on and 5 days off was not working, and so he requested that it be removed, and instead of putting something else in its place, it just got removed, so there's nothing. You're saying that there's an ordinance that we can enforce. There is no ordinance. She has no way to enforce anything.
For those two sections, we can reinstate those easy enough without having to,
Well, we reinstate something that wasn't working.
It's already been deleted, because I asked that, that's what I'm trying to get, I tried to get it to look like I've been there since this past November. And I was told that it can't just be reinserted, that's why they went to all the trouble.
how was it removed?
You guys voted on it.
Yeah,
I don't remember, did we? I don't recall, huh?
yeah, we did.
Okay.
And I guess,
Right. And there's one on Sherwood Forest West that's being left there all the time. You know, and there's nothing that she can do because there is no ordinance.
So what is a permit or a decal going to do to alleviate that?
It
Well-
creates enforceability, because right now we have no way of telling how long certain vehicles are there. The whole point of what they're trying to do here is enforce what I think the council has said is important to them, which is no permanent camping in districts 1 and 2. And that's becoming a problem. This is how we enforce it, so we know all the trailers there, how long they've been there. This is why the system is set up this way. And this is what the PNC has been working on.
The other reason that they wanted, even if it's somebody that owns a home, have them registered, is because apparently there was an issue with stolen trailers a while back. And working with the Marshal Department is a way to possibly.
It's not on the battery guide.
Take David's. Sorry, a little technical difficulty here. Dead battery, thank you, Debbie.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right. So apparently, a while back, the marshal's office had some issues with some stolen trailers. So this was another way that it would help with the marshal's office to prove that the trailers that are in here are legal and should be in here. Now, as far as saying street legal, like District 3, there are trailers that's been brought in here that stayed in here and have never, ever been taken back out on the road. So as far as I'm concerned, I feel like if the property owner has has registration on it, that it was in their name, it's not in somebody else's name, that it was in their name when it was moved in, or when they acquired the property, that as long as it's in decent shape, not falling down, not parts falling off of it and all that, that it should be fine.
That's not in the ordinance.
I know, but he's talking about street legal. Some of these trailers do not leave the property. It gets there in
I
District
know,
3.
that's a whole different subject, and it's not part of what we're talking about.
But if you have a tag on it, you have to have it inspected, you've already gone through this, and now we're gonna say you have the permit when it's already been done. It's duplication, it's senseless. It's not even legitimate.
well, I don't understand when you say duplication, Will, because what is the difference?
You have to
If
get
you bring a
tagged.
boat, can I finish my sentence, please? If you bring a boat in here that's street legal, or whatever you want to call it, has all the whistles and bells on it and this, that, and the other, but we require it to have a sticker. Do we not?
For the association.
That's for private
Huh?
property.
For private property.
Well, but it's enforceable, right? You can enforce it, right? If that boat, or skidoo, or whatever, does not have a sticker on it, what happened? You got to be able to somehow document and enforce it, and that's all we're trying to do.
Exactly, well,
Well, is
Tell me
the,
where we're gonna have to put it on an RV is ludicrous. I don't agree with that one either. I don't agree with the whole ordinance, period.
That's your prerogative, you know?
the problem is District 1 and 2 is supposed to be limited camping. Then what is limited camping, and how do we enforce that? if somebody, one, I don't know that our officers are gonna be able to write a ticket if they don't have any guidelines, for how long. We don't have a definition of limited camping right now. So this is, given the 17-day language, that's what's doing there. But, so we have different types of being able to bring these in, storage versus 17 days, other things. But in all instances, we don't want people dwelling in them. That's what our ordinances say. But how are our officers supposed to go out and, because they don't know when every single vehicle comes in and out. It's going to be almost impossible, and it's going to be a case that I can't come in here and good faith argue.
Right, and it's just like.
So this is absolutely going to help the officers, help the code enforcement, and ultimately, if it comes to me or the judge, be able to say, we know how long this has been here, and it's curbing the problem that, I guess we're weighing two things here, paying a small fee and having a sticker on your thing, or we want to address permanent camping.
Right, and see, there's no difference with the association requiring, that sticker tells the association which boats belong here and which ones don't. That's easily identifiable. If you see that boat doesn't have a sticker, then it doesn't belong here. If we see that there's the trailer unauthorized, then we know that it doesn't belong. And it gives our officers the authority to do something about it.
I may make a comment here. I can understand the camping portion, but in order to have an RV at your house, you have to own a house. I mean, you can't just park one on the property. So if you have a house and you have an RV there, why do you need a sticker?
Well, it's just to show that one's, it's just like, why do you need a
Yeah,
sticker?
but you already have a house, so we already know it's legal to bring a RV
You have a
there.
house, you've already got it, you live there, you've already got it registered.
And you're saying that if someone buys a piece of property, they can't store their RV there?
You have to have a house according to the ordinance, a home.
Yeah, not in District 1 and 2, you don't store an RV there forever. We've seen what it is where we have RVs that have been there forever, and there's so many that have been abandoned. They're just there.
Have there ever been instances of people having a house but still having guests and people stay longer than 17 days in an RV?
Sure.
And I don't, that.
I'm not talking about somebody coming in, that's camping, I understand that. I'm talking about like Will, for instance, he's got an RV, he parks at his house, he uses it, but it's his, and his home is there. So why would he need to have he's not gonna be investigated and looked at by the marshals. It's a house. I mean, if you don't have a house, that's a different situation, where you're camping. But if you own a home,
If you own a home, you live there.
yeah, I mean, that's, the way I look at it, so I may be wrong, but that's what I think.
I think it bears more discussion.
Well, I think the campers, we need to have a sticker, 17 days, the whole business, 1 and 2, and permanent campers. They need to be posted, but your RV at your house is a different situation to me.
I'll give you an example right now. In District 1, we have 2 different places that they do have a home there, but they have a RV at their property. So they have somebody that they've moved into the RV that's now staying in the RV, permanent, full-time, however you want to describe it. They're living in the RV also, but there is a home there. So the
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's illegal. We know you can't do that. That violates the code. I'm just saying if somebody has an RV and they park it at their house because they live there and they go traveling to Montana once or twice a year and they take it with them, that's not camping.
Okay, but these people have it parked at their house. Now
Well,
they
it's
moved
parked at
somebody
their house
in.
and somebody's living in it. That's a different situation.
Against what ordinance in District 1 and 2? Because right now we have none. That's what I'm trying to explain. They can stay in that RV as long as
I'm just
they want.
talking about putting a sticker on it. I'm not talking about anything else.
That's part of this ordinance.
Well, so, I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, we don't need to throw this whole ordinance out. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater
Right.
over the storage sticker. If that's what y'all want to remove, do that, but give the rest of the ordinance its due because it's needed.
Well, that's
to
all I'm
enforce.
saying is the storage portion of it. not the whole ordinance. I just didn't see any purpose behind Will having to put a sticker on his, for instance.
Well, if I was going to be in a district where camping is allowed and RVs are allowed, is it in there that I couldn't park my RV there and store it there rather than paying to have it down in Lumberton or Kuntz?
Maybe they would just say, I don't want to be there 17 days and then vacate it for 5 days.
No, that's where where you're saying where the permanent camping is allowed? There is a district where that is
They're
allowed.
saying after 17 days, you have to pull that RV out of here.
Not if it's storage. If your house,
If it's at your house.
it's a
no.
camper that has to go after 17 days. The camper,
But you can't leave it there after 17 days in some places.
And I know I asked last time, where did the 5 days that had to be removed for 5 days come from? And where's that?
I think
Just
when
arbitrary
they first
numbers.
came up, when they first came up with 70 days, it's, if you start a vacation or, on Friday, and then you go through the following, 2 weeks, and then you leave on Sunday, that's where they came up with that.
And y'all are free to, I think the P and Z was just using what was used in the past. Y'all are free to take this, and it's their recommendation, but you're free to take it and take whatever numbers you need. But I can tell you, as far as dealing with the problem that we keep hearing about of permanent camping, something's got to be done about it. So y'all got to do something with this ordinance. Change it however you want to, but this is your chance to do it.
Well, I'm not, I appreciate all the time and effort that's been put into this, all the thought that's been put into this. I just think that we need to talk about it a little bit more. That's all. And to that point, I don't know that we're going to get there this evening.
One of the things that P and Z needs,
Lift up the mic a little bit, honey.
I'm not trying to be difficult, Valerie.
one of the things that P and Z needs is constructive criticism. And it sounds like that's starting tonight. I appreciate your comments. It sounds like paragraph E, an annual permit for storage where permanent camping is not allowed is limited to one camping RV per residence on a single lot or multiple adjoining lots under common ownership.
That's a big deal.
Storage of a camping recreational vehicle is allowed only on lots with an existing home. Now, we can get rid of the words, an annual permit is needed or something like that, but do you want to see 5 RVs stored in the yard of a house?
Oh, absolutely not. I can show you where there's 4 of them on one lot back here off of Durwood.
This, part of this recommendation of this ordinance would make that illegal and enforceable legally. That's our goal, is what problems that code enforcement has been having. We are simply reacting and trying to solve their problems.
I
So-
understand completely.
But if the concept of a sticker on an owner's RV that's parked in their driveway is onerous, that can certainly be edited out. We need constructive criticism. If that's the only part of this that is unpalatable, we can certainly remove that for the
Well,
third
it's like I
reading.
said, I don't have a dog in the fight, but
That's why I'm talking to you. You're
Yeah.
the one without the dog in the fight.
Yeah, so this is the venue in which we need to talk about the things. We can't do it anywhere else. So we can't just say it needs to be looked at more. The conversations need to happen in these meetings and however many readings it takes. That's what we've got to do.
I'm good with
I
that.
think in paragraph.
Thank you.
In paragraph E, the annual permit should be deleted.
Okay, that's exactly the type of feedback that we
The other
need.
thing that I have is 17 days, you have to pull that RV out of here for 5 days.
No, you don't. It doesn't say that.
Okay?
It says that it's illegal to be here on those 5 days. You cannot get a renewal permit for 5 days after the 17th
RV can
day.
stay.
It says it's illegal to be there. It doesn't say it has to be removed. if the way that code enforcement
Whoa,
decides
whoa,
to.
whoa, that's
if
splitting
the way-
hairs.
If the way that code, that's why we did it that way. Because we didn't want to make it removed, we didn't want to stipulate that, because we're not going to sit out there and watch to make sure that that RV is pulled out of the city, or at least I'm not. Code enforcement, I'm sure, has their way that they're going to implement this. But we just simply said you cannot request the next renewal of a 17-day permit until after 5 days has lapsed. Now, that can be taken however.
What is the
but it's
purpose of the
illegal.
5 days?
The 17 days and 5 days were done way before I purchased property in this city, so I can't answer what the initial purpose was.
Is there any logical reason for 5 days? You can do that in an hour.
I don't know where you can do that in an hour, but.
Well, once you pull the plug, you can. You just have to go get
That-
someplace.
Thank you, you've just hit the nail on the head. People are doing that. And the 5 days may give them enough time to hook up their trailer, take the stabilizer jacks off, get it to a place where they can legally, and keeping the health, safety, and welfare of their neighbors and people that use our lakes safer from effluent being dumped on the land and going out there.
I think there is some of that being done.
I'm sure there is.
You know, so,
So it's all
but if you
about
have,
health, safety, and welfare.
if someone has a bona fide approved, TECQ approved septic system on their lot, would they still be required to move the trailer out?
Is it in the recommended ordinance?
I don't know.
Did you read it?
I did.
Is it in there?
I don't know. I've delved into a lot of the stuff that's online. I delved
No,
into
it's
all of
not.
these ordinances, and I looked at
It's
what
not
we
in
had and what we were changing.
It's not in there.
Okay.
It just simply says you cannot renew your permit for a 17-day temporary camping for 5 days after you receive your last. That's as far as we're going
So
to go.
what's the purpose of that then, if they've got a septic system and all you're trying to do is to get them to dump their black water when they do that constantly?
I think the original idea that was, okay, you can't have a camper sitting there for more than 17 days. I don't know where they came up with 5 days. It's like the 5-day week, I guess. You know, take it home, take it somewhere and come back next week. But the thing is, it used to be that it was very strictly enforced. You could not leave a trailer on a lot in Ivanhoe. They would take them and put them somewhere. But it's gotten to be a problem where people have left RVs just sitting there. We're not, on lots where it's not allowed. And there's nothing we can do about it. I don't know about this, I don't know about the 17-day thing, but it's just, that totally wasn't enforceable when Chuck Marshall was marshal. He said, that doesn't work, because there was no way to enforce it. We don't know when the 17 days started. We don't know when the 17 days are up. But now, if they have a permit on that thing and it says, okay, this permit was issued on such and such a day and it expires on such and such a day, then the officers know when it expired.
It's simply a way to have the city maintain a record of when the vehicles are allowed to be there for temporary camping. And if they see it and they notice that it's the wrong date or it's never been renewed, and the intent of the owner of the vehicle was to just put it in there and leave it, I'm going to get a 17-day permit and I'm just going to leave it there and live in it, then that can be caught. That has a legal enforceability. If we don't do that, if that permit on the window is from February and it's August, and the permit has not been renewed, and the people are living there, that is an enforceable legal situation. Otherwise, it's not.
Yeah, y'all can change the time periods, I mean, but there needs to be a time period.
It sounds like one of the biggest issues, especially is with Tommy and Will, is the item E, where, on someone's property. So,
Most enforcement issues are brought up by the citizens of the community who see problems and call it in, and then code enforcement deals with it.
and that's why Jackie's the one that knows what issues she's having to deal with, and that's why she goes to P and Z to say, could you do this? And she's worked with them. She's been in the meetings and, you know, trying to figure out, and then Brad, everything is reviewed by Brad to see if it holds water.
There is an issue with junk RVs that are not licensed or tagged, which goes under junk vehicles. There's people that are living in them that shouldn't be, and that need to be addressed.
How do you do that if they're living in it? How do you address it?
They can't be classified as junk vehicles if they're living in it.
Okay. And then how are you gonna have them moved? Are you gonna canvass everybody at one time and target everybody who's in violation and one say, hey, you got 17 days to get out of here? How are you gonna go through that process?
We're doing it right now, we're trying to do it until we realize that there was no ordinance about the foot.
And then the marshal's gonna ride around, and that's all they have to do is say, oh, that permit's not valid, I'm gonna have to go deal with that. Whoop, there's another one.
They're also not driving around seeing if people are killing each other. Somebody has to report it.
Yep.
May I make a suggestion? I mean, instead of holding on to be here to midnight discussing this, could we ask the city council and Brad to submit any recommendations they have on this particular ordinance to me or Valerie before the second Tuesday, first Tuesday of next month, so we can review at the P&Z meeting?
That would be awesome, having recommendations.
Because I don't see us, you know, rewriting this thing tonight. I mean, unless y'all want to be here a while.
And you want that by when?
Prior to the first Tuesday of next month. Right? Yeah.
I would suggest sending that directly to P and Z versus council members sending it to each other.
That's what I was saying. Should they send it to me or send it to Valerie?
Send it to Valerie.
Okay.
So you're saying we can't talk about it?
We're not supposed
That's
to.
why this is the venue to.
So perhaps we should put our thoughts on paper and then have a special sit-down prior to then.
If that's what y'all would like to do,
Do it
yeah.
next Thursday.
It's gotta be in an open
That's fine,
session.
that's fine.
Good. I mean, if y'all can have it ready before next Thursday,
We'll try.
It's traditionally been the first Tuesday. We shifted it to the second Tuesday this month because of a different.
right.
Yeah.
So what day will that be?
Tuesday. Yeah, do it before Labor Day weekend, you got it.
September 6th.
'Cause then-
September was before Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, because September 6th is the day after Labor Day. And so if they can get it to me before Labor Day weekend, because everybody will forget about it over the Labor Day weekend, travels and whatnot.
Okay, so is everybody clear when this,
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie.
Does that need to be in motion form or? was that-
Well, you had a motion on the floor. You
I need to withdraw my motion, and do I need to make a motion of what we just talked about?
I don't think you have to have a vote on that one.
We'll postpone this until next council meeting.
And that people submit their
And people submit their recommendations to P and Z
prior to, so we don't,
prior to.
All right, I second that. Good.
We have to remove the first one.
I already did. I did. I'm sorry.
Who seconded it?
did anyone second that first motion? I don't think anybody
I don't
seconded it.
think we ever seconded, did we?
So we never had a second, so it died.
We should just call it.
It died for lack of a second.
What's that?
Okay, so, moving right along, consider discussion action closeout of FEMA Harvey reimbursement project and the closeout of FEMA 2015 reimbursement project. these are projects that are so old that you can't even tell. There's been additional damage since then, and I think we got as much as, we've gone as far as we can go. I don't know. You can imagine, in 2015, we had claims, and we did road work, and we were reimbursed for a lot of that. Clearly, damage that was caused 7 years ago is not, you can't identify it today. It's not the same thing today as it was 7 years ago. So this request has been made by the people that, Resnick are the ones that represent Tatum, right, CD? It's the firm that represents Tatum, asking for us to go ahead and close out those two projects so that they can get it off their books. CD, would you like to comment further on that request?
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, 2015, since then, we've had Hurricane Harvey. We've also had some other floods that have occurred along the way. And in our discussion with David, the Public Works crew, they're busy day-to-day activities taking care of our work orders. And by this time, the issues that were identified back in 2015 for that flooding event, a lot of that has already been dealt with as a result of subsequent weather events that have occurred. So it's just become impossible for us to put down in paper or on numbers on paper that can say, okay, back in 2019, the city expended time with, we didn't even have a dump truck back then, but with equipment to do stuff here. It's past that point. And so Cone Resnick says, okay, there was $207,955 that was identified initially. And in the packet that I sent, you'll see where the Harvey, that was Harvey. I put the wrong one in there. We have, through Missy's work and compiling things with David over the years, believe that our reimbursement came in to somewhere around $89,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. Like I say, since then, and as you can see, the comments due to additional damages that have occurred over the time frame when this project was initiated and now it's become practically impossible to determine what was original damage from, and it's 4223 is the Tatum designation for the 2015 flood and the subsequent damage that has occurred. Returning the right-of-way drainage and streets to what existed prior to the 2015 flooding event does not make sense after additional damage occurred at most of the remaining locations that were identified in the original project that we've not turned in billing for. Since FEMA and Tatum are now focusing on mitigation rather than repair, the city has determined that the funds held for this project would be better served moving to mitigation funding. As a matter of fact, that's where we stand now with the money that's coming from DebtCog.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
that's funneled by way of Harvey, but Harvey was one of the big issues that pretty much negated 4223 for us.
Right, and that was the other thing. Back then, they made us put it back the way it was before the event. We couldn't improve it. So if there was a 12-inch culvert that didn't handle the water, they made us replace that 12-inch culvert with a 12-inch culvert. So it still didn't mitigate the problem. Now, at least, they're focusing on mitigation and not on forcing people to repair things the way they had been. So, it's a whole different ballgame today. So, but we have to officially close these out in order for them to get them off their books.
So do you need a motion? Two separate motions or one?
I guess we have to have two. So item number 13 is
I'll make a
the
motion
FEMA
that
Harvey reimbursement project.
I make a motion that we close out that FEMA Harvey reimbursement project.
I second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, number 14 is consider for discussion and action close out FEMA 2015 reimbursement project. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consider discussion and action joint election agreement and contract for election services with Tyler County. This is standard. You have to have the election, the agreement. And basically, the biggie on this one, I kind of read through it, the county clerk will notify and bill the city for its part of the cost for the programming and rental of the equipment, supplies, ballots, compensation of personnel, and rental of the polling place and administrative cost if under contract. We have a contract with them. It's a joint election because it's the November election, all the things that are on the ballot. There's all kinds of things on the ballot at the state level, at, national level, at all levels. And so what happens with a general election like that, we pay our portion. It's divided up. That's why we never have election. We try to avoid May elections because then we get to do it on our own. And then you get to pay the whole thing. So this is a way of dividing up the cost amongst all the different entities, but we have to have a contract. We have to enter into an assigned agreement. So this is the agreement that is sent out to all the entities.
Do you know how they divide it up? Is it by percentage, population, land mass?
I didn't take that training, but were we in?
It's not important. It's just
Not
point of
sure. I'm not
curiosity
sure if
for
it's
me.
just, there's 10 entities, so it's divided by 10, or whether it's by population, or issues on the ballot. Right now, the only thing we have on the ballot is two little things, and there have been times that we've had, there have been much more on the ballot, so that could be, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe number of items on the ballot.
Could be.
Okay.
Don't know.
It's just a question.
Do I hear a motion to accept the joint, or to authorize the signing of the joint election agreement?
I make a motion for the joint election agreement.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, what did I do with my, oh, there it is. Consider discussion, discussion action financial report. Oh, getting out of paper.
CD, you're up.
Okay, and again, thank you. Try to make this kind of quick because I know that it's going to be a little bit lengthy session in a little while. For our treasurer's report, August 2022, the financial documents, including the bank and text class statements, were sent to council earlier in the month. The accountant's financial reports and reconciliation details for each account, those were emailed to council last week after she had provided those. The other items that I'd like to report on in July, the state comptroller's direct deposit of $7,001.82 on the 11th of this month for sales and use taxes collected in June, reported the comptroller in July. Last month's sales tax was $6,753 for comparison. The sales tax collection year-to-date is above last year. That's $74,701 this year compared to $72,784 last year. The budgeted income for sales tax collection is $75,000 for our fiscal year 22. So we should be exceeding that budget. And if more sales occurred in July than occurred last year, we'll be topping $80,000 in sales tax collections for our end of year report. And so just looking at things, we only have about $6,000 to go.
Wow.
And most of our collections now are over $7,000 per month, so looking good. Ad valorem taxes were received on the 9th of the month for July collections. $10,268 and some cents went into the general fund. $2,387 went into the interest and sinking fund. That works out to a collection rate of 88.09% for the year. And that's backed up with the documents that I printed out for you, because I don't know. I'm going to do a poll real quick. Did most of the council members get my emails that forwarded the information from Shirley, Andrew on the reconciliations? I know of one individual who did not. And I've had some issues along that line since we transitioned over to Outlook for our email. And if this is going to be an ongoing problem, then I need to talk with Mr. IT about that.
Well, I have a problem along those lines because sometimes I can get it, but I can't open it. So that's a problem for Mr. IT. But I've got several of those that it just won't open.
Okay. Then we will be in discussion with Mr. IT in regards to that.
I did that with the audit, remember?
Yes. Okay. See what we can get figured out on that. All right, let's see, where are we? At the end of July, our total ad valorem collections for this fiscal year come in at $658,304.89. The total is based on payments for current and delinquent taxes. That means all the way back to 2010. The general maintenance and operations, as well as the interest and sinking account. And I gave you the numbers on the different, or the two accounts there. Comparison-wise, collections for July of 2021, it was $11,516 for the general, $2,808 for interest and sinking, and that was a total of $14,326, and that should be 50 cents. The collection rate same time last year was 89.54%. So our collection rate is down from last year, and the budget was based on a 90% collection rate. So we'll be looking at that during the budget workshop. Pledged securities at Citizen State Bank total $163,117, and combined with our FDI insurance amount, we have a cushion of about $386,000 if we need to dump money into the general fund from text class or wherever. Kyle Heineman from Davis Heineman & Company spent most of the day last Tuesday in the office with Mayor Bennett and myself reviewing the financial functions the city utilizes for day-to-day operations and for payroll. Mr. Heineman also discussed the budget preparation and generating reports that are more understandable for our monthly council meetings. Payroll has been rolled over to Davis Heineman & Company with no hiccups, and there's more dialogue as we prepare to transition our accounting side from Andrew Business Solutions to Davis Heineman. Two firms responded by the August 11th deadline to submit proposals for the fiscal year 2022 financial audit, that being Seidel Schrader from Brenham, Goff and Harrington. They're based in Lufkin. The proposals were sent to the council via email, and again, one of the council members was unable to open that. Hopefully the second email that went out today with the attachments will make it and you can open it. And I've asked Mr. Heineman to review those proposals prior to council's approval auditor. I won't go into the figures that they presented on that, but they are extremely high. My eyes rolled back in my head when I saw them. The interest and sinking bond repayment of $103,487.50 will be made next week. It's due by the 1st of September. As you see in the text class interest and sinking account, we have over $113,500, so we're in good shape for that payment. The balance will carry forward to fiscal year 2023 for the interest payment that will be coming due next March. The second outlay of funds for the Coronavirus Recovery, or ARPA Act, has not been received as of this afternoon. The second tranche of funds will be equal to the first, and that's $177,910 and a few cents. That first tranche arrived September the 9th of last year. So if they're staying in keeping with that, sometime after Labor Day, we should be seeing that second tranche that will build us to that 300 whatever plus amount. As Mayor Bennett has previously explained, the ARPA funds can be used as city's match on that $11.4 million General Land Office mitigation grant, And as the mayor had presented earlier, the filing on the ballot will run through August the 22nd, which is this coming Monday. I will be in the office from 2 until 5 p.m. For any last-minute filers. That's also the deadline if there's anybody that says, ooh, I had second thoughts, and they want to back out. That will be the deadline for that. Drawing for positions on the ballot, that's set for 5:15 p.m. on Friday, August the 26th. The reason behind that is because anyone who wants to file as a write-in candidate has up until 5 o'clock that day, the 26th, in order to do that. And at 5:15, those who have filed will draw for a position on the ballot. I'll get that information to the county clerk's office so they can initiate the ballots, and there we go. So, that all being said.
Question.
Yes, sir.
On our audit last year, where is that on the budget versus action?
Get over to my
We did
budget.
November last year, is that correct?
No, it was later.
No.
Was it later that?
It was this year.
Oh,
This
yeah.
year though, right?
We got, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was this, it was after the first of the year.
It was well after the first of the year because Davis Heineman and, well, Kyle Heineman had to do some additional report work. That's going to be, let's see, where are we? Under the general.
Auditor, here it is, it's actual was 18,000, right? Budget was 13,000. Huh?
What page?
The
Let's
second
see.
page.
Second page.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's right under expenses, it's like the third item.
Auditor?
Yes.
Okay, so we paid,
Our actual cost is 18,850 at this point.
that's what we paid this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason I asked that is for the proposal we have, so I can compare.
You're right.
Right.
So again,
What we paid this year to the proposal's been submitted, so I can look at that for our special meeting.
okay.
That's kind of like what we talked about before with more money coming in, grants to audit. There's just, it's getting more expensive to have our audits done, but
This
that's
year
what
we'll,
happens when we have more funds.
we'll have a single audit this year, which from the feedback that I'm getting from our auditor of the past few years, we don't see a whole lot of work that goes into that. They will be asking for additional figures in regards to those grants, but the work that they do on the back side of it in order to make it workable for the GLO, the state comptroller, whoever might be coming along, sniffing around to make sure that things were spent where they were supposed to, then that's going to require additional time on their part.
The emails you were talking about, was that the audit proposals that you were sending, you were
Yeah.
asking people if they
Audit
got?
proposals.
Okay, I got it at 3:30 today.
Okay, that was the second one that's sent out. The first one is the one.
I didn't get
that-
the first one.
Okay. So we're going to be talking to Mr. IT. Thank you. Okay, any other questions?
Thank
We
you,
lost
CD.
Tommy for a moment.
Okay. Any other questions about the financial report? Do I hear a motion to approve the financial report?
Make that motion.
A second, CD, just so you know, I got the first one too, Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, CD.
Thanks, CD.
Number 17 is consider for discussion action budget amendments, which the additional ARPA funds have not arrived yet. So we checked this afternoon. It still hasn't been, they directly deposited into the account there at Texas Class. We checked the account, it had not been, it had not been deposited yet, so we can't do a budget amendment until the money is actually put into the account. So that's, we checked that, we marked that off. The next items on the agenda are all things that we have to discuss in closed session. The next three are all dealing with employee issues, and those have to be dealt with in closed session. The other one is the legal consulting with our attorney, and the other one is property acquisition. So we will be going into closed session. This is probably going to be a long closed session for us. We are going to stay in the room, and we're asking people to please step out. It's a little bit different procedure than normal, but we need to be comfortable in what we have to do too. We appreciate everybody. You're welcome to hang out in the office if you'd like to. It could take a long time. Okay, we back on? Okay, we are resuming our meeting at 9:06 PM. Yes. Okay, the main thing that we have made a decision on personal time off, revision for the handbook. It will be publicized. Do we need to go over every detail of this PTO thing, CD, in order to vote for it? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adopt the PTO that Councilman Craven has suggested with
I'll
the changes
make that
that we
motion.
agreed on?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? And we will have that posted. And we have to make sure that we want to make sure that it's posted, not only posted, but given to all the employees, and so that they can sign for it, that they've received it, and it becomes a part of our employee handbook. The other thing is, we would like all council members to have a copy of the employee handbook, so we're all familiar with what the rules are. And we understand that some of the newer employees have not received the handbook and have not had an opportunity to sign on to that. So we will get all of that handled. Is there anything else that we need to address here now that we're back in open session? Consider for discussion action that City Council approves all policy, promotions, position changes, and changes to job titles. I think that we're all in agreement on that. Do you want to put that in the form of a motion?
Is your mic working?
It will be in a minute.
Okay.
As soon as I get
It's
my
number 18, Will.
Yeah, I gotta get back out. You get yours?
Yeah.
I make a motion that City Council approve all policy, promotion, position changes, and changes to job titles.
Okay, that's in the form of a motion. Do I hear a second to that motion?
Thank you, sir.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The number 20, Councilman Warren just withdrew. He said it's irrelevant at this point. There's nothing further to discuss on item 21 or 22. Are there any communications to the audience? Council comments? We'd like to thank everybody, especially those people that waited for us while we were in this long closed session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. No opposition.